The first time I ever had a fajita was in San Antonio, Texas in the mid-1980s. I remember being at the Hyatt Regency Hotel on the Riverwalk, having lunch outside with my young son. I think fajitas became a family favorite because he loved them so much. And from then on, they were always fast and easy to make, especially for a weekday meal. To make fajitas de pollo, you will need a chicken breast that will be cut and seasoned, a yellow bell pepper, red bell pepper, orange pepper, about a half of an onion, some cloves of garlic, some lime. You'll need a fajita seasoning mix, about a tablespoon, salt and pepper, and cilantro. I'll also be showing you how to make a very easy guacamole. You'll need 2 very ripe avocados, some chopped tomatoes, a green salsa. I always use Trader Joe's. You'll also need flour tortillas for your fajitas and also some sour cream to top it. I'm slicing my chicken and then I'll cut these little pieces into strips. It's always easier to cut your chicken if you cut it after while it's still slightly frozen, or put your chicken breast back in the freezer for about a half an hour before you do start cutting it. It really makes everything so much easier. Texas lays claim to the fajita, but it was really the Mexican farm workers, rancheros, on the Texas-Mexican border who sort of invented fajitas. They were oftentimes given this skirt beef that nobody else wanted, and they learned how to grill it, cut it on the bias, and wrap it in a tortilla, and it became really the first fajita as we know it today. Now that my chicken has been sliced, it's time to season it and let it marinate a little bit before we cook it. I'm starting with a clove of garlic. Probably not going to put the entire garlic clove in here, but I'm going to, nope, I am going to put the whole garlic clove in here. Next, my tablespoon of fajita seasoning mix. This is just something you can buy in the store. Probably about 3 tablespoons in a package. I'm only using 1 tablespoon. For my taste, the package is way too much. A little salt, a little pepper mixed together, sprinkled in, and now about 1/4 cup of water poured over the whole mix. And with a spoon, you just want to toss it and mix it. And I like to let this sit and marinate while I do the rest of my vegetables. While our chicken is marinating and seasoning, it's time to get our vegetables ready. I've done a rough chop on the onions and the cilantro. I have a clove of garlic, which I will grate at the end. And now it's time to just start slicing the peppers in thin strips. I love these bright colored peppers. I was introduced to them the first time in San Antonio, Texas in the mid-80s when we were there for a produce expo show. At the time, I had never seen anything like them. The only thing I had ever seen to that point was the green bell pepper, which we grow a lot of in California. But these beautiful, colorful peppers, and there were other colors too. I remember there were purple and even a striped one that I thought was just phenomenally beautiful. We're all coming out of Holland at the time, and they were all greenhouses. Love these peppers. They're very sweet, they're colorful, they're very meaty, and they hold up beautifully in cooking. Time to start cooking. I've heated about 2 tablespoons of oil in my large pan. You want something large so you don't overcrowd, and I'm starting with my onions. I'll next add our peppers. It's time to grate a clove of garlic into the mixture while it's cooking. You could chop this, but I like to grate it. I'm pushing the onions and peppers off to the side, and now adding just about another tablespoon of oil to the center of the pan. It's time to add our chicken. Give it a minute to heat and dump it all in. Now it's it's just a matter of stirring it all together and getting the chicken cooking beautifully. And so now it's time to add my cilantro. And I'll keep just stirring it around. I'm going to tell you the rest of the story about fajitas. In Texas, there was a guy called the Fajita King. He was a one-man fajita operation based out of just south of Austin. And in around 1969, he started selling his fajitas at rodeos and fairs and all over the state, really. But it wasn't until 1982 that fajitas started to appear on menus. And the first time it appeared on a menu was at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Austin, Texas. The fajita became their signature dish, and it also was made that particular Hyatt Regency restaurant the most profitable restaurant in the whole chain. The fajita remains on the Hyatt menu to this day. This is looking beautiful, and it's almost finished and ready to put into a nice warm flour tortilla topped with some guacamole and sour cream. By the 1980s, a fajita was a fairly common Tex-Mex menu item, but it wasn't really until about the 1990s that it moved to California, where it has been a favorite ever since. There really is nothing easier than making guacamole. The key to a good guacamole is a good ripe avocado or two, well mashed into a mixing bowl, to which you're going to add salt and pepper. You can always adjust the seasonings later. Stir it around. Clove of garlic. Probably not the full clove, but maybe about half of the clove, grated into the mixture. Again, you can always adjust it later. I like to use about a half of a lime using my citrus reamer. Get the juice out. Stir it around. The citrus also keeps the guacamole from turning brown. Next, I like to add about quarter of a cup of chopped tomatoes. I like the color it adds. Next, I'll finish it with some chopped cilantro. And my final ingredient is my favorite green salsa from Trader Joe's. I'm just going to do this with my eyeball, maybe about a tablespoon. I may add more, we'll see when I taste it. Because at this point, proportions aren't at all important. It's all a matter of taste. Do you want it hotter? Add more spice. If you want it saltier, add more salt. Let me just give it a quick little test. For my taste, that's just about perfect. So this is my guacamole. It needed just a little bit more lime juice, so I'm just going to squeeze a little more lime into my guacamole. And then our guacamole will be used as a condiment on our fajitas, along with sour cream. And we're ready to sit down at the table and plate up a beautiful fajita in a warm tortilla with guacamole and sour cream. Fajitas de Pollo, our family favorite. But you can also make fajitas with beef or shrimp, and there's no need to go to a Mexican restaurant for a beautiful fajita dinner. Always a family favorite.